Hello and welcome back for your daily dose of LOL Esports content, where I'm going to cover the games that took place in the LEC and LCS today, as well as preview the schedule in both regions tomorrow. Predictions: rough return, 2-4, 104 and 51 on the year. First things first, LEC, SK Gaming Team Heretics. SK win 2-1 in what was a pretty dominant series out of them. Niski, 8-7-16, 33% of damage. I think it's fair to say he could be in the MVP conversation for this one. Exakick, 11-4-16. Perks, 15-5-7, 43% of damage. If you didn't watch the series and watched my Discord watch the series, you would have thought Perks played terrible. And honestly, I thought Perks played pretty well given the circumstances. Probably one of his better 3-game sets in a while. But SK find a way. So game one, they're up 3K gold at 19 minutes, which isn't massive, but Isma and SK very active. DOS getting around the rift in multiple games in this one. Despite Team Heretics getting out to an early lead, getting 2v2 kills, outplaying a bot dive, DOS on the Nautilus, actually, in game one, Heretics win. So, why talk up SK? Flackett get out to a lead. DOS responds by getting around the rift, making things happen on the Nautilus. SK went to jungle twice, mid twice, bot 4 times, took all 3 grub spawns, 2 drakes, up 26 CS in the jungle, 30 CS in bot lane. There was a diffy here, but Perks on the Azir, Wonder on the Kayasante outplay mid to late game team fights to win them this game. Irrelevant on the Zac, he did have some nice wombo combos, but in the end it didn't make a difference. And honestly, Irrelevant ends up being my MVP because I thought in game 1 he wasn't the reason why they lost. And then in games 2 and 3, he was a difference maker, in game 3 especially. So game 2, 15 minutes, 3.4k gold lead for SK. 32 CS lead for Irrelevant over Wonder. That's a bit of a diffy. Irrelevant on the Gnar. Very effective in team fights. Niski on the Talia. Great setup. And Isma on the Maokai. Going alongside Niski, setting things up with his facilitating ulti and the like. I do like Maokai a lot. I will say Jankos in this series I thought left a little bit to be desired in games 1 and 2. Honestly, I predicted Heretics to win, and I thought it would be Jankos over Isma as the difference, and Isma just was ahead of Jankos. Game 1, like I said, all over the place, even though Heretics win. And then in Game 2, on the Maokai, being more effective on the Maokai than I felt Jankos was in Game 1. Game 3, before 15 minutes, SK are up 3k gold, taking down the first turret. They have a double-digit lead in both mid and bot lane. A lot slower game between the two teams. Actually, rephrase that. Heretics had a double-digit lead in CS in mid and bot. First 2 games, I have SK in blue, and then in game 3, I have Heretics in blue, so it threw me off. Regardless, early game, Irrelevant on the Malphite. Solo kills Wonder on the Gnar. A Malphite solo kill. I mean, that's how lopsided that matchup was today. Exakick on the Draven. So we all know what happens with the Draven, right? You get a couple kills on it, and it starts running the game, and that was simply the case. Wonder did have some moments where it kept them in the game. Perks as well. Like I said, Perks until the end was by far Heretics' best player. But Niski on the Azir, strong again. Perks even was on away, I think, in game 3. So a lot of interesting picks, and SK end up pulling out the victory. Irrelevant, like I said, on the Malphite, gets the solo kill, but also in team fights was just massive, as a Malphite normally is, and he got a ton of kills as well. Now, the KDA wasn't the strongest, and of course, the damage wasn't the highest because of his champions that he played, but playing facilitator champions, Zac, Gnar, Malphite, and then also being very effective, getting solo kills and things like that. Yeah, MVP. Mad Lions, Koi, Giant X. Mad Lions win 2-0 as they smoked Giant X. This wasn't even close. Suppa, 6-1-27, 30% of damage. Frescowi, 13-0-16 in mid. Patrick, 294, 28% of damage in the loss. Going into this one, I know we have Mad Lions fans in the Discord. They were worried about the Giant X scrim results and how the coach had said, oh, Giant X gives us a lot of trouble. Mad Lions is a team, you watch them on the Rift and their draft compositions, and it screams to me this team limit tests a lot in scrims, right? They're trying a lot of different shit and seeing what sticks. And if they're doing that, they're going to lose in scrims a lot to teams that may not be very, for lack of a better word, they're just frankly vanilla in scrims, and they're going to win games because they're just playing standard League of Legends as you try and push your limits. So for Mad to win this 2-0 isn't a big shock. Now I don't know if I predicted 2-0 or 2-1, but I did have Mad winning this one. Now, game one, Mad are up 6k gold at 1630, 24 CS lead for Myron in top lane over Odo Omne. Alvaro on the Nautilus started this one off, really set the tone, and then Sup on the Senna was next level, and then in game two, Sup on the Senna was good as well. So he ends up being MVP because honestly it was very good Senna performances, and he leads in damage in the end. Alvaro playing well, Frescali playing, everybody played well. So game two at 15 minutes, a 3k gold lead, and Peach up 17 CS over Elioya, but Frescali's up 26 over Jackie's. I thought Jackie's left a lot to be desired in his first LEC series against Mad Lions. He's obviously played others, but this one, his first against another rookie in Frescali, and Frescali got the better of him by quite a bit, and one could argue age as a part of that experience. Frescali's played for many more years than Jackie's, I have to assume, based on their age difference. Now, Myron, solo kill. A solo kill on Akali into Odo Omne. There was a moment where Odo on the Rumble seemed to maybe turn things around, and it just was, just as quickly as things seemed to be turning around in this game, it was over. Frescali on the Tristana was a menace, just getting a ton of kills and finishing things off with his bombs. So, this was an easy 2-0 for Mad Lions Koi. LCS, C9, NRG. C9 would win. Another case where if you follow the Discord, you'd think C9 lost or we're going to lose the game. Berserker, 405, 25% of damage. Blabber, 4111 in the jungle on the Sejuani was MVP. FBI, 235, 37% of damage in the loss. Laning phase, NRG were up 1.2k gold at 1530, but all four roles, C9 had a slight CS lead. Unfortunately for them, and why the game probably took so long was because you're getting all the gold on the Sejuani. That's not going to be great. Palafox on the Talia, getting a lot of gold for himself in NRG. However, in the mid to late game teamfights, Berserker was a difference maker. And then in the final teamfight, C9 won while Berserker was in top lane taking turrets, like 4v5. And Berserker's dealing the most damage on their team in the end, and they don't even need him. Fudge, very effective. Jojo Pune, very effective. As they win that one and get back to their winning ways, if you will, it was a matter of time before they would finally win again. Immortals, Dignitas win. First Smolder game for Tomo, 614, 33% of damage. Dove, 617 in mid. Mask, 344, 40% of damage in the loss. Another one of those games where Mask is trying to deal as much damage as he can and can't win the game. 15-minute laning phase. Immortals actually up 1.2k gold. A lot of that on Mask, up 22 CS. Ole on the Leona gets a 2v2 kill. That's unfortunate for Tactical. Armeo on the Ivern getting kills in the early game. That's unfortunate for Immortals in general. Castle on the Aatrox. Solo killed Rich on the Yone. XU on the Rel. Very effective in terms of making things happen. I thought he was keeping pace with Armeo through the early to mid game. Mask was on Way. Ends up dealing a lot of damage, like we said. Was significant in a mid-game team fight. However, Dove on the Silas returns the favor and starts really being a difference maker. And in the end, Tomo on the Smolder ends up dealing the most damage in those late-game team fights. He's scaled. He got to the point where Smolder ends up being quite oppressive. Was I impressed by Smoldering today? No. Between the both games, I was not impressed at all. But at the same time, Dignitas win, right? So Dig win. And I mean, it's kind of interesting. You see these two teams are built similarly, right? Solo lane Korean imports, definitely two very different points in their careers, where Rich and Dove, you could argue, are washed, where Castle and Mask, I mean, you have such things as has-beens, never wases. You could argue maybe never wases. So it was definitely, there's similarities and then there's some differences between those two teams. Team Liquid, 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves win. Very back and forth game. Meech, 718, 31% of damage. Quid, 928. Impact, 545, 30% of damage in the loss. Isla was my MVP on the Alistar. So, 1730, 2.5k gold lead for Team Liquid. They just won a team fight to get that lead and take mid lane turret, I believe. 10 CS lead for the bot lane. Now, early game, 100 Thieves. Sniper on the Aatrox. Solo kills Impact on the K'Sante. Isla on the Alistar. Very, I keep using the word effective, but he just got in the face of Team Liquid, had some great knockups, and had knockups throughout the game on the Alistar. And I thought that was the setup they needed. Quid on the Talia, also some nice Weaver walls, and then some that said, what are we doing here? And they, both Sniper and Quid, clearly were trying to make a statement. Very happy with the flash button, going in there and making things happen. Now, in doing so, Team Liquid are able to respond. Core JJ on the Taric, being able to obviously do Taric things with his ulti in a team fight. Yeon on the Callista, very strong in the mid game alongside Impact, dealing damage and getting kills. But in the very late game team fights, Meech on the Varus rained down damage and won them this game. And that's why I end up with 31% of damage. Although in the early game, the Varus was not the vocal point for 100 Thieves. Shopify Rebellion, FlyQuest. Shopify blowout, FlyQuest. Fly were my only team in the top 25 from the LCS. It was an ugly loss for Fly. So 16 minutes, 3.7k gold lead for Shopify. Inspired has a 17 CS lead on Vi. I do not like Vi. I'm not a big Vi fan when it comes to champion choice, and I'm certainly not a fan of it when it's on your best player. So, when your best player is piloting it. So 17 CS lead wasted. Insanity 11 CS lead over Jensen. B-Voy 6111, 33% of damage. Boogie 706 on Wukong. Zeyzal was my MVP on Rakan. Jensen 353, 35% of damage in the loss. Zeyzal gets a 2v2 kill early on. You don't want that Ignite, but it is what it is. And also would get their second kill, which we've said a couple times today. You don't want your support getting the early kills, but that's just a reality. And then set up for the next team fight, which got Shopify in a good position. Now, Fake God ends up winning a mid-game team fight for them that really sets them, to another tier above Fly, with a couple kills. Now, the game went the way of Shopify after that in a top lane team fight, where Jensen actually, I believe, had a triple kill on Azir, so had all three of his kills, and it looked like Fly had just won the fight, turned the game. They were down 4k gold, and we're going to take Baron, but Boogie had other plans on the Wukong, getting a triple kill of his own. And then in the late game team fights, B-Voy, Boogie, Insanity, and Fake God were not going to be denied, and of course Zeyzal on the Rakan. They blew him out. I think it was like a 17-6 kill difference before the game was actually complete, so it was even worse than that. Sneak peek for tomorrow, LEC, G2, BDS, both 7-2. G2 coming off of a win against Fnatic. BDS coming off of a win against Vitality. Last time they played, G2 would win. Hansama, 4-5, 32% of damage in the win. Ice, 2-2, and only 17% of his damage, of the team's damage in the loss. LCS, Cloud9, 100 Thieves. Cloud9, 4-4, 100 Thieves, 5-3. When they played, C9 won. Blabber, 628, 25% of damage. River, 252, 14% of damage in the loss. NRG Dignitas, NRG 4-4. Dignitas, 3-5. Last time they played NRG won. Dokla, 566, 31% of damage. Rich, 254, 23%. Team Liquid Shopify, TL 4-4, Shopify 3-5. Last time they played, TL would win. Keep in mind when they did play, and I didn't mention this in my last video, I should have for my sneak peek. Shopify had Wild Turtle, not Bevoy, in bot lane. So APA 613, 31% of damage in the win. Insanity 041, 29% in the loss. And to finish it off, Immortals FlyQuest. Last time they played, Fly would win. Fly 6-2, IMT 3-5. Jensen 601, 27% of damage in the win. Mask 230, 43% of damage in the loss. So very reminiscent of today's game for IMT in that, hey, Mask is dealing all the damage and they're losing. So, you know, obviously this one's a big series, right, between those two. And after that, we have LCS to finish it off. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.